Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned. Then they're going to go down to the old town, like the walking area part of town. And they saw flyers yesterday, he and his friends, for there's going to be a chicken fight in Old Town. Not the kind of chicken fight you think. There's going to be two dudes with boxing each other, but instead of boxing gloves, they're going to have raw chickens on their hands. The sign said, "Bring PPV." You get salmonella splashed on you.
Okay.
I've seen this kind of thing popping up lately. Did you see that dude in New York City who ate an entire giant bucket of cheese balls, like the cheese puffs,
like the giant canisters?
Yeah, like the giant canister you get at Walmart or wherever, like the little cheese, puffy cheese balls.
And he ate just the entire canister?
Yeah, so what he does, he put up signs all over New York City, and with a picture of him, like he had like a orange, like ski mask, with like the eyes cut out, you know, and a cape, and he's like, "I'm Cheese Ball Man" or something like that, Cheese Puff Man, and he's like, "Be here at this intersection at this time." It was like April 12th, and watch me eat an entire bucket of cheese balls. And it's like he had like 1,000 people showed up for this dude.
That's too much.
Like all these people showed up, like with cameras, like news was there, and the dude stood up on an upturned like 5-gallon bucket, and he ate the entire freaking thing, and almost puked. And then he's like, and that was it. And he's like, "Cheese balls, cheese balls, cheese ball hands, cheese ball hands, cheese ball hands." And
wow.
At the end of it, he's like, "Come back next year, same time, same place." And everybody's like, "Yay!"
Dude.
So people are doing this kind of stuff just for funsies, I guess. It's pretty funny.
What's the permit situation like where you walk into the office and you're like, "I need a permit for a chicken fight"?
Oh, they didn't get a permit.
Oh,
probably.
I
not.
am making crazy assumptions then that they went about this in some sort of like, so that way the police don't show up and be like, "Hey, we got to shut this crap down."
Well, the crime is so low in the city that if the police showed up, they'd be like cheering them on too.
That's
because
wonderful.
Like there's.
The police just have nothing to do except for watch chicken fights.
They don't. They don't even do speeders anymore here. They don't even catch speeders anymore. There's one car for like the town of 150,000 people. They've got one speed trap car that they like with the cameras on it, and they move it around town once in a while, you know,
and just leave it there.
Just leave it there for and catch people until there's another problem area. Then they move it someplace else. But the police don't really have a lot to do. So, I mean, it's good. And there's not really, there's no bad part of town here. People are always coming in here like, "Where's the bad part of town?" That doesn't exist. There's not a place in town that I would not feel comfortable walking alone at night by myself. And it's extremely privileged and etc. But I mean, I'll take it.
Well, of course. Who wouldn't, right?
Probably you. I don't
Yeah.
know. That was. I'm sorry, Zach. I take it back. That was unkind of me, and
I
need to take your feelings into account first.
I want you to know it didn't faze me, and I didn't care. Don't beat yourself up too much. You're at least a dingleberry.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Well, you grew up on a farm. You probably saw them all the time.
A dingleberry?
A dingleberry.
Like actual dingleberry?
Is this a regionally specific word?
What is a dingleberry?
Okay. I'm gonna tell you what a dingleberry is, but you gotta cut
I've
this
always,
out.
I've always used it in my parlance as just an idiot. The dingleberry.
Yeah. Well,
It's a thing though.
you want the specifics of dingleberry, right?
You said I've seen them around the farm. I want to know what you're accusing me of.
Yeah, it's just poop that hangs off the hair of a butt of an animal.
Is it?
That's what it is. Just
Really?
just because they can't wipe, right? So it's just
That's not what dictionary.com says.
what it. No one cares about those people. They don't make up
Dingleberry.
words. They just add words to the dictionary. We are the
Dingleberry.
ones.
A foolish, stupid, or contemptible person.
Yeah, that's okay. That's another meaning. That's why I said, yeah.
Also a cranberry.
Nope.
Another term for cranberry.
Nope.
In the southeast. And okay, you got it. 3, a piece of dried fecal matter clinging to the hair around the anus.
Yeah, the anus.
Anus.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have learned something today, Zach. Today I learned that you are not always wrong.
Took you long enough. I mean, gosh.
Well,
also, I feel like you've said that multiple times.
No.
Today I learned that you're not always wrong.
No, today I learned about dingleberries. Thank you. My dog does have that dingleberry problem once in a while. Also TMI.
That's not it's not TMI. He's a dog. He can't wipe. He's not.
He can wipe. I've seen his wipe his butt across the floor.
Oh my gosh! I saw a TikTok the other day of a dog doing that, like scratching his butt or whatever they do, like whatever that action is. But apparently, it did have like a piece of poop, so it was literally streaking across the carpet. I was like, "Oh no.
Dude.
So good." What was crazy is that the person was recording and noticed the streak and still didn't stop the dog. And I'm like, this is your house. You're going to have to get out the carpet scrubber. You should stop your dog from doing this. So, guys, it's just put down the phone, quit recording for a second. And it's like at some point, I've seen enough of those like fail army videos to be like, there is a time for recording your loved one and their foible, right? And their whatever. But then there's also a time when you should put down the phone and at least ask them if they're okay. Like, don't just continue down your path of like recording and not ask, hey, did you break a limb?
Yeah, like your kid falls down the stairs, you're recording. I'm like, haha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point, wake up and realize that you need to put your phone away and make sure that people are okay. Yeah.
No.
My chest.
I would like to hear what you have to say about this. It's therapy with Zach. It's therapy with Zach. It's therapy with Zach.
I want you to know, I laughed so hard because I didn't know what to expect. You said I there's like an Easter egg.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like Steve's gonna make me listen to the whole podcast because typically I'll only re-listen to the banter section so that I can grab a couple of clips.
Yep.
And then when you were like, oh, you need to listen, like go to this section and just listen to a couple minutes. I was like, oh, a couple minutes, that's fine, whatever. It was right out the gate though. Right out the gate, just.
Well, yeah, it go to the right spot.
So funny. That was so good. We need more of that stuff too. We need more. How much time did you spend?
Oh, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long. Yeah, I was inspired. I thought it was fun.
Therapy with Zach. Every time we start a new segment like that, now there's pressure. I feel like I'm gonna put on you to be like, yeah, you need to come up with a new theme song for. I played it for Casey. She thought it was hilarious.
Good.
Yeah.
And I also figured out how to play audio, so everybody can hear it.
So everybody heard that?
Yeah, that was on the that's in the recording.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Zach.
I feel no, boo.
I'll stop.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like that's if you create your own soundboard, it's going to get away from us this real kind of quick.
Well, now I know how. So,
dude, you got me an MC Hammer cassette tape.
I totally forgot about that.
So I left for that trade show. And Casey goes, "Hey, like the day that you left, this package came from you in the mail," and I was like, "I didn't order anything. What is this?" So I didn't recognize the company. I don't know what the heck. So I opened it up like a normal person because you just open up mail. You gotta find out. And as soon as it was wrapped in bubble wrap, it was really well wrapped. But as soon as I saw it, like I saw the cover, I was like, "Freaking Steve! This is Steve." Steve got me a cassette tape of MC Hammer wrapped in cellophane. That's fantastic. I love it.
After that episode, I'm like, check eBay. It was like $7.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah.
No, I'm not going to spend very much money on you, so don't worry about that. But.
I appreciate that.
But I thought
the side of me that can't accept gifts, can't accept anything nice.
Well, it's not a gift. It's a think of it as just like a joke, you know.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a player, so I can't listen to it at all. But also Spotify, like
right.
Yeah. Also Spotify. So yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, is Homelander still saving his pubes?
Dude.
No.
I will. Okay. I'm gonna have to cut this out.
It's like 3 weeks in a row.
We need like a sign that says "Days gone without saying pubes." 0.
It's always gonna be 0.
It's just like permanent marker 0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Have you seen the fourth one?
Let me look.
The one after he bakes everybody, or shoots their wiener off with his lasers.
I love that you paused to try to figure out what word to use. I'm very curious as to what's going to happen with Black Noir, because he's clearly, the actor is clearly cracking, and everybody's like, "Shut up, dude. You just," he's just trying to get direction. He's trying to ask somebody from a human standpoint. He's like, "I need help with this role. I don't know what I'm here for."
Right.
And everybody's like, "Shut up."
It's like, that's all you have to do is shut up.
Yeah, that's really all you technically have to do. Yeah, I've seen, there are 5 episodes out. I have not seen Beware the Jabberwock, my son. I saw The Wisdom of Ages, where that's the one where A-Train found the jar. Like he went and stole that V.
Right.
And so I've not seen episode 5. The way that one ended was
Huey's mom.
Huey's dad got the. I think that it was Huey's mom. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that it was Huey.
No, he was stuck in his pocket.
I think he stuck it in his pocket. I think she saw him stick it in his pocket, and then like the next thing you see is it creeping up the thing, and I was like, oh,
well, yeah. Well, I thought they showed Huey's face. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I
don't think that it was Huey, but still,
you okay? You gotta see.
I've not seen 5.
I won't. No spoilers.
No spoilers, but I know that I need to see 5. I probably will.
I know.
I probably will this evening, but you know,
no shame, no spoilers. It's just it's very interesting, and the sheep. That's all I'm gonna say. The sheep. You know what I mean?
I'll get it later.
Yep.
Superman's in Cleveland, bro.
What?
Dude, Superman's in Cleveland.
What?
Superman is in Cleveland. Read
Superman's
the show notes.
Unreal. Oh, being shot in Cleveland. So suck at every other town.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah,
I haven't seen a Superman movie since the OG one in the 70s.
Steve, that bothers me. That bothers me so much.
I don't like DC stuff.
What?
It can
Okay.
suck my it can suck my Marvel.
Okay. Well, I don't. It makes me uncomfortable. Um,
Or sorry, my Stevenator.
they clip that
I'm
sound and use
I don't
it.
know what's going on with me today.
Add it to your soundboard. Okay. Yeah. Granted, DC has had not the greatest track record of cohesion.
Yeah.
like like Marvel has. They should have just simply copied and pasted. Just copy and paste. Don't worry about coming off like you are copying and pasting. They struck oil. You also go dig in that area. Just
Right.
go do that. But
I feel like they tried to go edgy or something.
and I really liked that. I liked the Zack Snyder version of that stuff. The studio polished version sucked. It sucked my Stevenator, and I don't like it. I don't
Okay.
like it. I don't like it. Okay?
We cannot start using that term.
Okay. Well, you're the one who came up with it. I now say it and it makes you uncomfortable. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So they're shooting the new DC. Like DC basically got a rebrand now that they have their own Kevin Feige, I guess, in the sense of, oh my gosh, who's the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy? Why am I
Oh,
blanking on this?
he got temporarily canceled.
Yeah,
James Gunn.
James Gunn. Yes, James Gunn is basically like the new Kevin Feige for DC.
Huh.
He's the new like showrunner for the thing. He's shooting a new Superman movie, and apparently Cleveland is at least one of the cities, if not the city, that will be Metropolis. So
Does Cleveland have tall buildings?
in a single bound, I mean, boom, Superman joke. It didn't make any sense, but that's not the
That's
point.
good. That's good. Yeah.
Yes, they do. They do have tall-ish buildings. Yes, they have
Oh, I see
a
that.
decent
Yeah.
skyline, and
The internet
so
says that's a city in Ohio.
it is a city in Ohio. That is correct. That is correct. The internet is finally right.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, you should go up there and see if you can be like an extra.
Listen, I've thought about it. I thought about completely ditching work, and
You could work from home if you hear my air quotes over the radio.
yeah,
That day, and then go in. Yeah, I don't know.
there would be video evidence of me working from home.
Oh, well, I mean, they're not going to know for another year before the movie comes out.
I'm not gonna take that risk. I'm not gonna take. I'd rather just go PTO and then,
Okay.
or just straight hooky at the end of the day. Just not tell anybody. Blame it on an email disappearance.
So I dropped in the notes that the Nosferatu trailer has dropped. At least the first one. Have you?
Yes.
You're not a trailer avoider, are you? Sometimes.
Not necessarily. I'm not a trailer avoider. I'm a digging deeper, more information avoider sometimes, but
Right.
I'm not a trailer avoider to some degree. Like I don't watch the trailer for the next episode of The Boys.
Right. Yeah.
Like the
Okay.
trailer that they show at the end of an episode, or next time on The Walking Dead. No, I
Yeah.
don't want to
always
know
ruins
that.
stuff. Yeah.
I don't want to know the trailer for the next episode of something, but a trailer for a movie, yeah, I'm down with that. It was a bit underwhelming, the trailer for Nosferatu, but they're really keeping this movie under wraps. It feels like.
Yeah. I agree. I thought. I mean, I'm looking forward to it just because, it sounds cool. It's got really. I mean, Robert Eggers. I like Robert Eggers.
Right.
The
That's the
Vivitch and
witch.
so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see what he does with it, and it's got some good actors. Willem Dafoe, who seems to be in everything lately.
Is he in? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe is in this.
Yeah, and I guess these days, if you've got a scary bad dude, you have to get a Skarsgård.
I
It's
mean,
kind
you
of the
got it
rule.
right.
Yeah. It's like, which Skarsgård do we get for this movie? It's usually this. It's usually with the same guy, right? What's his name?
Yeah, it's usually
Alexander.
Pennywise. Yeah,
Is it Alexander?
Alexander Skarsgård is a Skarsgård.
Yes, I know. Which one's Pennywise?
Pennywise is his younger brother,
Oh,
Alfred.
okay.
No, it's Alfred
No,
Pennyworth.
Bill.
That's Bill Skarsgård. Yeah.
Did you see the Heretic trailer? The new A24 horror movie coming out?
Wait, what do you think about the Nosferatu trailer?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought it looked interesting. I did a little bit of research into Nosferatu after seeing it,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize it's kind of considered the first vampire movie ever, and kind of the movie that set the stage and set the framework for horror movies. Period. And it wasn't the first scary movie,
Right.
but I guess the way it was done or something. But anyway, apparently it was a ripoff. It was a direct ripoff of Bram Stoker's Dracula, because the German guy who made it couldn't get the rights from Bram Stoker's family. His wife was still alive. She wouldn't give them the rights to make a movie out of it, and so he just did it anyway and changed the names and changed a couple things about it. And she took him to court and sued, and the court declared that every single copy of Nosferatu to be burned.
Oh wow.
And there were like 3 that kind of survived somehow.
The Lord.
And
Is the Lord.
thank you, Jesus, for Nosferatu.
Just saying. Sweet little 6 pound, 7 ounce baby Jesus.
Thanks, baby Jesus.
Yeah.
But and then since then it's been like pieced back together and stuff. But apparently it's still just pretty much a ripoff of Dracula. But I'm curious. I'm hoping that they'll maybe do something different with this one, because there have been a couple Nosferatu-like movies along the way.
Right.
And there even one actually with Willem Dafoe playing in Nosferatu, I think, if I remember correctly, back in the 90s.
So what do you think of this trailer?
I think it looks good. I mean, it's interesting enough. I liked how they don't. I hate trailers that tell you the whole movie, so it didn't do that. It was very interesting. It was a good trailer.
Yeah, you don't really know that the trailer is doing that until
too late.
It's too late. It's too late,
Totally.
and then you're like, oh yeah. And so I think some franchises you can kind of assume. You know,
Yeah.
like for example, they did it with Paul Blart 1. Basically gave away the movie.
I don't remember that trailer at all.
And then I was like, oh, when they announced 2, I was like, I'm not going to watch the trailer because they're going to give it away again. They did it with 1, they're going to do it with 2. You know, the same kind of thing with grown-ups. Like, they gave away basically the whole premise of the show. And maybe that's just because those are not plot-heavy movies, so who cares?
Right.
I do. That's the answer to that. Is who cares? Is I do.
Lots of superhero movies do that.
Yeah. Don't give it away. I don't want.
Or the thing that seemed to be common for a while, back in the earlier 2000s, the trailer would have really some funny stuff, but the funniest stuff in the trailer was not in the movie.
Right.
Remember that? I think they had to do that with Mulan, and something else with Eddie
Murphy.
Thank you, Eddie Murphy. Yeah. The Heretic movie with Hugh Grant.
Oh my gosh.
Did you watch that trailer?
I loved it.
Didn't look good.
It looked so good.
I mean, I'm not a Mormon, but that they put in the notes, time to trigger your religious trauma.
Yeah. It
looks really interesting.
It does. I'm not necessarily... Okay, I've heard enough about Hugh Grant. I don't know him personally. I know that that's a real disappointment to a lot of people. But I don't... I've heard too much negative stuff around Hugh Grant's difficult to work with.
Right. I have to.
That I'm completely sour to Hugh Grant. So when a movie has him in it, I'm not excited to see it.
Kind of like by default.
Just by default, as soon as I saw him in the cast, like the principal cast of this movie, I was like, this movie's gonna suck. This movie's gonna suck. That's what it is. I'm so sorry. I can't help it. This movie's gonna suck. But I saw the trailer. I was like, let's give it a chance. It's A24.
Right.
Sure enough, I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I'm very curious
too.
how they're gonna play it out, and it should be great.
Yeah, I love the idea of this faith test that he seems to be putting them into. Like, do you believe or not? You know,
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, the fact that he was like, you might wish that you were dead, or like that's one of them is clearly going to choose belief, I think, and the other one is going to choose disbelief. I think that that's kind of the way that it's going to go, and they're going to end up splitting up, and then yeah, I don't know that for sure, but yeah, this movie is also very anti-Mormon.
It seems to be.
It seems to be very anti-Mormon. I'm very curious about how the Mormon Church is going to react to that.
I'm curious.
How does Mitt Romney feel about this? I don't know.
He can go suck his gold plates.
Well,
I like
listen, if you had gold plates too, you'd probably do the same thing.
Well, suck them. I mean, I don't know. Steven Ader.
Just under your breath.
So I have to admit, I may need to read. So I said a couple episodes ago that I think that maybe I don't like anything before a certain year. I keep coming across movies that I just really just 80s horror movies just don't do much for me, Zach.
I understand.
I try. I do.
You don't have to cry about it.
But I saw a movie that looked really good. It looked interesting, and I'd never heard of this movie before in my life, and it was pretty darn good. Happy Birthday to Me.
I saw that you watched that on the Letter of the Box.
Yes, and it has Mary Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie, not her real name, Melissa Sue Anderson.
Okay.
And a guy like on the cover, a guy gets a skewer shoved through his mouth at one point.
The skewer looks delicious. Can I say that?
It does, and that's not even the guy that it happens to. What's going on? Come on, lazy.
Well,
anyway,
thanks for the spoiler warning.
Well, the guy is not even in the movie.
That guy's not even in the movie?
No. I wonder if like that's like a fan one or something that I don't know. Irregardless, it was really good, and it's one of those. Scream is often kind of considered one of the very first, or a very good example of one of the first slashers with a whodunit vibe into it. Because a lot of the slashers, you know exactly who it is, but this one is like that you don't know who the slasher is the whole time, and it's like a big reveal at the end, and then there's twists along the way, and it's actually it kept me going. I think my problem a lot with 80s and 90s stuff even is that too often it's pushing the bounds of the special effects and the style at the time. Like it's like they're trying, just like Event Horizon. Like it's a really good movie, freaking scary, but there's some really bad CGI, and it's like they did their best for the time. But it just throws me off too much sometimes. But this one they did a really good job with the whole 9 yards. So I was really impressed. Really good.
All right, I think it's on my. That's one of those movies that's on my list. That might have been on. That might have been on your list. I've not actually updated that in a while, mainly because we've been doing the summer thing now.
Sure, yeah. Got a couple more things on our list here.
Yeah.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
I don't want to talk about it.
Is something.
He is something.
So you So a new Yorgos Lanthimos movie has been released a couple days ago. Kinds of Kindness. Again, Willem Dafoe is in it, and Emma Watson. Sorry, Emma
Stone.
Yes, and some other famous folks. I haven't seen it yet. I really want to go see it, and my wife does not want to go see it because it's going to be weird. She thinks, and
she's
when has his movies been weird? Come on.
That's okay. Your wife is on the right trail here, Steve.
So I texted you and I texted you and asked if you're going to go see it, and you're like, I gotta read what you said.
Yeah, read the exact completely tired quote that I wrote down.
You said, "There's nothing conceivable in the known universe or Pooniverse, physical or thought of, that you could give me to get me to go to any one of his movies from now until the end of time," all caps.
Yes.
Including but not limited to any state I'm reincarnated in as when I die.
Yeah. From here until time runs out, there is zero things that you could give me, whether that's physical items or ideas that you just come up with. I'll whatever. It doesn't matter. There's nothing that you could give me.
And I am still impressed by how absolute and final that is. I've never read a more absolute final statement.
Yeah.
That's really well done.
I will never. And I know that people are like, "Oh, don't say never." Shut up. I'm going to say it. Never. I will never go see one of his movies. I saw The Lobster. It's a trash movie, trash lobster. You never get to see anybody get turned into a lobster. That is the biggest bummer of my whole lifetime. And I've been through some stuff, Steve. Let's be honest with ourselves. Okay? I've been through some stuff. Never more of a more disappointing movie in my whole lifetime. And the second is the friggin' the Killing of the Sacred Deer. That wasn't necessarily bad. It was definitely odd, and it was the better of the two movies. I will say that. It was the better of the two movies.
I agree.
But they're just, I think because it went downhill. Mm-hmm. That's what makes me say that. Like if I had started out with The Lobster and then went to Killing of the Sacred Deer, I was like, oh, this is getting better. So maybe I'll try out Poor Things. Maybe I'll try out the Kill 'Em with Kindness or whatever the thing is called.
Yeah, so I think your trajectory idea is absolutely accurate. Because Killing of a Sacred Deer was made after The Lobster, I believe. And then before that, he made the movie Dogtooth. And I've heard Dogtooth is on many of these lists that run around the internet of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen. Lists.
For real.
And I'm like, in honor of Zach never ever watching a Yorgos movie again, I'm going to watch the weirdest movie that he's ever made that everybody says is too weird to live. So I rented Dogtooth last night. And
you got a drum roll in your little sound box?
And it was weird.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, that's too much. You have too much power in this podcast at this point.
When I watched it, I was just so shocked at everything that was happening that I wasn't able to process it. I had to stop the movie a few times and ask myself if I actually wanted to go through with it. And I powered through, and I realized that I think that, so it's weirder. Plus, it's in Greek, so you have to read it. So it's like you have to really pay attention to the movie. But it's weirder than the other ones. And I think Poor Things on the upslope of things is much less weird. It's also bizarre, but in a different way. And I'm hoping that trajectory goes with the Kinds of Kindness. We'll see.
Right.
So he starts out weird and he gets more normal, but I've decided that Yorgos Lanthimos movies should not be called movies. I
You
think he's
don't
using.
say.
I think he's using the medium of movies to make art that we don't know what to do with. We go into it expecting a movie like with a storyline that makes sense, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I thought about Dogtooth, the more profound it actually is, and the more I'm impressed with how he did this. Very well done, sir, and very it's a satire. It's one of these, people call it a comedy. It's like a dark comedy, but the more I thought about it, the more it is. It's just making fun of society, and this one is basically pointing out how he's like making fun of homeschooling and the world of trying to shelter your kids so much that they become messed up because of the sheltering. Like in the
Mm.
movie, he shelters his kids their entire life, and they're like almost 20, like late teens, you can tell, and they're so sheltered. He even gives names for things that are wrong. Like
So he's
one of the
giving them misinformation immediately.
he's teaching them everything. Like exactly, he tells them that the name for salt is um, like a belt buckle or something, and like the name. So like one of the kids hears the word zombie from some place, and the mom's like, "Where'd you hear zombie?" Oh, I don't know, I was someplace. And he's like, "What is a zombie, mom?" And this kid's 20, And the mom says, she pauses for a second, and she's like, it's a kind of small yellow flower. And they refer to their private parts as keyboards.
No.
Yeah, yeah. And they want to protect their children from the negative influence of society. But because of that, because they did that so much, their kids are screwed up, messed up, and end up sleeping with each other at the behest of their parents. And there's a weird relationship with the dad and the kids. And they're told that they cannot leave their compound until their dog tooth falls out, which like their canines.
Mm-hmm.
But your dog tooth doesn't fall out. It's not. And they said then you could have to come back to the house when a new one grows in. So like telling them stuff that's just false.
Wow.
And the dad is gaslighting the kids constantly. And one of the daughters wants out so bad because she gets a view. She sees a videotape someplace. She wants out so bad she takes a weight like a dumbbell and smacks herself in the face until one of her canine falls out, so she can leave.
That's some desperate stuff.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
she gets in the trunk of the car, and dad doesn't know she's in there. They drive off, and he goes to his office and parks the car, and she's still in the trunk. It just shows, it's like a long still shot just looking at the trunk. End of movie.
So you don't have a clue whether she's alive, dead.
No, it's like Schrodinger's daughter in the trunk of the car. Like Schrodinger's cat. You don't know, is she dead or alive? I don't know. She was bleeding a lot.
Did she get out? Did she stay in? Like, is she
Right.
contemplating? You don't have a clue.
No.
Lame. That's lame, dude.
It's what, like I said, it's not, if you're expecting a cohesive story from his movies, you're not going to get it.
This up for interpretation crap needs to stop. There's a time and a place for it, but now what you've just described is both movies that I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
which leads me to believe that this is one of his staples. Is that every movie he just leaves it up for interpretation at the end, or maybe he runs out of film. I don't know. Does he mismanage his time and then he just runs out of film and he can't finish the ending? Is it a deleted scene at the end? Is it when you got to buy the DVD? Like,
no,
what?
So you like I said, if you expect it to be a movie with a storyline, you're not gonna like the movie. You're not gonna like it.
Well, there is a storyline. It's just stupid.
Well, it's allegorical and trying to make a point and satirical and blah blah blah.
Lame. That's lame.
So if it's just not what you want, Zach, it's okay.
It's not what I want. This guy keeps making movies. It's what somebody wants.
Well, I enjoy it in a way. That's not my favorite movies at all, but I enjoy like thought provoking things, and make conversation starter things.
Right. I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do you keep going back?
Because
What is it? Are you hoping that maybe this one?
yeah,
Are you just
no.
an eternal optimist
I'm
about it,
actually at
or
this point with his movies, and I'm kind of at the stage of, I wonder what he's going to try to say this time. So maybe I've smoked the Kool-Aid. I don't know.
you've definitely smoked the Kool-Aid? That's not only the weirdest way I've ever heard that. It might be the best way that I've ever heard that. You smoked the Kool-Aid. You could have snorted Kool-Aid because it's powder. You could have boofed it at the end of the day, and you said smoke, and that's the best way to ingest
If you're going to
Kool-Aid.
talk about his stuff, you can't say drink the Kool-Aid. You got to smoke it. It's got to be different.
Yeah. Well,
I saw it. I think it connected with me because all of his movies are about control. They're about controlling somebody and somebody else trying to get away from that control. And this movie was about having one source of truth that lies to you, tells you the wrong thing, and expects you to live in this world that with that wrong knowledge, and how that's just going to totally, fork you up. And
right.
I feel like that with a lot of my life. # religious trauma. So,
boom, roasted. Take that, religion.
But it is a harder movie to watch than something like In Violent Nature. And sometimes you just want to watch something that's not going to be like all that I have to think about all night and have a conversation with my wife about the next day.
Yeah, because who would want to have a conversation? Like, come on. Like,
I wouldn't.
Oh my gosh.
So tell me about A Violent Nature.
Okay.
You saw it, right?
I'm going to come out the gate swinging.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
The yoga kill was stupid. It was stupid.
I thought it was inspired.
I waited weeks. I waited weeks to watch that kill. Because I heard, this is the best kill. It's so innovative, blah, 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 whatever. Makes me never want to do yoga again. Makes me rethink it. Stupid. It was so freaking stupid.
It was
stupid.
not that bad. Yeah, it was not
stupid.
But it wasn't that like impactful that it would make me not want to do yoga.
Yeah, it's so first, here's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a couple of issues. I'm just not. I'm also free thinking this. So here we go.
Yeah.
I've not prepared any notes.
We're just spitballing here.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm a free ball it here. Yeah. Okay. First, she gave up. She gave up. She tapped out immediately. So the scream, when she turns around thinking it's her friend or whatever, and she screams and she sees it and she runs to the edge of the cliff, that scream and the escape was fake because she wanted to die. She could have jumped. She could have jumped. She could have saved her life, and because it was just a sandy hill. It was a hill. It wasn't a cliff.
Yeah.
It was a sandy hill. And I know that because she freaking later got kicked down that hill.
Yeah.
Okay. So also, spoiler alert if you've not seen this movie, but also I don't care if I'm spoiling this movie for you. Okay. Don't care. I hated that kill so much. I don't care if I'm spoiling this movie for anybody.
Really?
Apathy all the way up.
So if it was a situation where she legitimately tried to get away and couldn't, and then he did that to her,
that might have made it better.
Okay.
It was a big problem for me, the fact that she just, because she stood there. She stood on stopped at the edge of the cliff to contemplate, is this, should I jump?
Mm-hmm.
Then she gets the punch, right? Mm-hmm. Through her spinal cord and through her abdomen. That's enough to kill anybody. Instant death, right? Nope. Freaking flesh wound. Monty Python, Black Knight, flesh wound.
So spinal cord, you can live with your spinal cord snapped.
Your legs can't support themselves. You would immediately buckle and collapse now, wouldn't you? I've never gone to medical school, but I'm not a moron. I'm not gonna get the wool pulled over my eyes here. Okay.
Did you know?
Okay, go ahead.
Somebody can't actually punch through somebody like that.
Well,
Did you know this is a movie?
That's what I was just about to say. And if you're about to be like, Zach, it's just a movie, you need to lighten up. I'll suck it. This is my problem, not your problem. Leave me alone. And then you just said it. So, Steve, suck it and leave me alone. Okay? Okay? Because I understand it's not necessarily real. Okay? But
Yes,
also, like, it was an innovative kill. To pull someone's head through their torso. Pretty wild. Okay?
Right. Like, in a very, by itself, it's an innovative kill. The lead up to it was stupid.
The fact that she gave up, she shouldn't have given up. She should have at least fought, pushed him down, kicked him in the nuts, did something. She should have at least try to do something, but she didn't. She just stood there and let it. And then she turns around and faces him. What the H are you? I almost cursed. What are you doing? I almost said the F word. I'll be honest with you, full transparency, because I'm very jazzed up here. Yeah. So. That didn't make any sense to me. The fact that she turned around to face him. What?
You gotta face your demons, man.
Stop. That's so lame, dude. No, you don't. No, you don't. You could just avoid them. And I know that because the boomer generation exists and they taught me how to sweep things under the rug.
She could have at least ran sideways.
She could have fell backwards and just that'd have been it. But she technically did have the little spear thing, like the chain thrower. He could have pulled her back up. Anyway, she should have immediately died.
Right.
Okay. She stayed alive too long for. Anywho, so because like the guy at the end that gets his arm cut off his arm and head cut off by the log splitter.
Oh yeah,
he just sat there. That's because his spinal cord was broken. He paralyzed him.
Oh, right.
And that made sense to me. He paralyzed him so he couldn't move, and then he wanted to go torture him. That kill was way more brutal and wild than the yoga kill. Yeah, way more impactful to me than the yoga kill.
With me, I think the reason it hit me so hard is because I'd never. I mean, the way that they show it pulling your head through the hole and everything, it was like it shocked me so much that I kind of forgot what had happened around it. You know, I think that's probably a lot of people. That's like what, and like the lead up to it was kind of irrelevant. Because I remember when I was watching it, I thought to myself, because it had this wide shot showing her on the edge of the cliff or the hill, whatever. Mm-hmm. I thought, why doesn't she just roll down? I thought that, but then they had the kill and like completely whatever. That was impressive.
Yeah,
I hear you.
The other thing was this. Did he separate her head and spine from her shoulders? Like, did her shoulders just stop at her torso?
She's a very skinny woman.
That doesn't mean that she doesn't have shoulders.
I think, well, her spine was already severed, right? So as he pulled her head through, it just pulled the spine through with it.
I don't know, man. I thought it was lame.
Detached from the ribs.
There was one kill that literally made me go, oh, like out loud. And it was one of the final kills of the movie. It might have been the final kill of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the boy and the girl, like she's got the bracelet, or not the bracelet, the necklace, right?
Right.
They run into the woods. She has like a gas can and the hatchet or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So they're whispering. He's standing there in the dark. They're whispering like, hey, this is how we're going to trick him, blah, 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 whatever. First off, idiots. Mm-hmm. He has ears. Okay, like he's stalking you. Don't whisper. He can hear you. Don't be dumb. So that should be a rule in horror movies. Like the killer can hear you. Right. Learn like Navy SEAL-esque hand gestures.
Right.
Like that should be a rule in horror movies, right? Like don't say I'll be back. Right. All this stuff. But when he turned around and that guy's up against the tree and he gets the axe to the face.
That was pretty brutal.
That was wild. I was like, oh, dang. And then he just kept wailing on his head. She's standing there completely paralyzed. Like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Yeah, that was the best kill to me. Maybe not the best kill. The first kill was kind of wild. I think the first kill was when that hill jack got his face basically ripped off.
The who?
The hillbilly who was putting traps in the woods.
Right. Did you say hilljack?
I said hill jack, yeah.
Oh, I never heard that.
It's just hillbilly.
Oh.
Just yeah. So
I guess some of them are named Billy, some are named Jack.
Yeah. That was a wild transition too. I thought that was very, very clever to be like, because he's reaching down, slowly reaching down, right? And then it instantly transitions to the bloody hand in the house reaching for that necklace. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That was good.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But then I was like, what the heck happened to the guy? We have to. Then he walks right by him again. And you see his arm up on top of the car. His face is basically ripped off. Like, I was like, oh, dang, that guy. But it was blurred out, and I thought that was just enough to show us what happened. It was blurry. I don't know how Jimmy or Johnny or whatever the heck his name is. I don't know how he was seeing with those just massive glaucoma he's got. I don't even know. He needs to take maybe some medical marijuana. I don't know what he's got going on, but he's got zombie eyes. Man, that was pretty crazy. I thought his body wasn't decomposed enough for the time frame that he woke up.
Well, there's magic around it all, so
of course, and also a horror movie, and it was a decent movie. I wouldn't give it more than 3.5 stars. But and I'm not trying to be mean. The reason I'm coming at it from such a wildly hard standpoint is because I saw on social media so many people hyped up that yoga kill as like the quintessential Terrifier level kill, that I was like, all right, I want to see what's happening. And then the fact that it was the fact that she basically gave up, and she could have at least tried to save her life. It wasn't like her friend in the water. She couldn't try to save her life. He has the advantage.
I think the reason so many people are fawning over this movie is it's doing something slightly different.
Right.
The POV from the slasher. And often just like human psychology is when something is different, it's easy to perceive it as better just because it's different.
Right. It's Skinamarink.
Exactly. That's something like it's things like that. Like it's different. Oh, so that means it's novel. It's like this new fancy thing, and we immediately perceive it as slightly better, even if it's not.
Right.
Because it's novel.
Right. Yeah. It was also so funny to me. So they shoot him in the chest or whatever, and he's laying there. They're at the ranger station, I think.
Right.
It's towards the end of the movie, and they're standing there. That he's laying down the ground. They think that they've got him. Hey man, go get those chains, tie up his feet. The guy's like, no, I'm not tying up his feet. I'm like, hey, quit being a freaking wuss. Tie his feet up.
Right.
He's killing people. This is no time. This is nut up or shut up here, dude. Like, stop being a freaking wuss and go full. Like, all of the toxic masculinity in my body was yelling at this kid.
Right.
Like, I immediately turned into just David Goggins and Joe Rogan. I was like, dude, quit being a. Like, I was saying some very choice words to this guy in a horror movie. And because they kept creeping closer to him, and I'm like, stop, don't go, he's not dead, what are you doing?
No. Right.
And so they're like, all right, well, fine. The ranger goes, all right, fine, trade me, as they're standing like 1 foot from him. So stupid. Like, I was like, dude, take 3 steps back.
Yeah.
And then make this exchange. because he is just playing possum. Like,
Clearly.
how are you not thinking about this? An undead zombie creature.
Yeah.
Who your dad fought in this, like, that your dad picked on, or whatever the case is, that you know the lore about.
Yeah, yeah.
And who has clearly come back from the dead once, because I think his dad was the one who buried him.
Right.
Before, like, so
reburied him or whatever.
You know this lore.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain can't leave room enough for the fact that he could be playing possum, because it's like 1, 2, 3, and the guy grabs the gun and I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel bad for anybody dying in that moment, because I'm like, you guys deserved it. You 100% deserved it.
I didn't feel bad for anybody who died in this movie.
Of course. Well, yeah.
That's not just because I don't have a heart, but yeah, none of them. I don't know. But I mean, is it really a horror movie? Is it really a slasher movie? I should say, unless somebody makes a stupid choice.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. All of the people who die have to make dumb choices.
Right.
Like, yeah, they have to make dumb
choices. Not jumping off the cliff.
Yeah. The guy getting his head cut in half was pretty sweet. That was pretty.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet. And then also the fact that he drugged that body and then threw him up against the glass. I was like, oh, dang, bro. Like,
I thought the ending was weird.
The ending. Okay.
Getting in the car and driving away, and like, I kept waiting for something to happen, and I'm like, what's going on?
It
shifted from his POV to hers.
Here's one other problem that I have with the movie. All of those exposition kind of moments brought the movie down from really cool, innovative slasher movie, to B movie. So one of the things that I really liked about same studio with Late Night with the Devil,
right?
All of the exposition had its place. None of the dialogue felt unnatural.
Right.
But in this movie, when they're sitting around the campfire and he's telling the story, and just the friends are talking to each other, I went, none of you are friends. All of you are actors. I'm not buying any of this. Because nobody would talk like this. Like, the fact that they're taking a selfie with the front-facing camera, and she goes, let me turn the flash off. What? What? Do you know how phones work? I don't know if there's a phone out there that has a front-facing flash, but none of them do. Is this your first phone? Oh, the writer wrote it like that? Okay, so let's not blame the actress. Let's blame the writer. You're dumb. Okay? I know I'm going too hard in the paint on this one. We need to stop talking about reevaluate. We got to move on to something else, because I'm sure we've lost every single one of our listeners at this point. Zach's just going too hard. Yeah. But then it was also like the exposition in the car between the driver and the final girl. That also, the fact that they ended on that, and the exposition it didn't feel real. It felt like you were kind of reading from a script. It didn't feel like there was no emotion to what they were saying. And so it just wasn't, it was a cool way to end the movie, because she's staring into the woods thinking, oh, you're right there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he was just kind of watching her and maybe thanking her subliminally for returning the necklace, and which was cool. That was it. I thought that was very interesting, but the dialogue could have been better, or could have been better in this movie. And
yeah, I agree. Here's what I think would have made better. When I was disappointed that they showed his face.
For real, you were disappointed.
Yeah. So I think would have made it more interesting was to follow him from behind the entire time, show him with the mask on. That's fine. It's part of the scary bit. But I think hiding his face the whole time would have been better. Mm-hmm. If they would have stuck with his POV the entire movie, and seen him go pick up the necklace off the gas can, and like watch her go away or whatever, and what happens to him after that? I mean, does he since the necklace isn't on the right spot in the forest? Does that mean can he still walk around, or is he stuck now? Or I mean, there's just so much that could happen.
Right. I understand that. I think that was more Jason Voorhees at that point, because
I was just looking for more mystery in it, I guess.
He was very child, because he found those keys on the ground. He found the car, and he immediately started to play with it.
That's true.
And that's where you saw his face.
Right.
And I thought I will agree. I think they could have come, because they did a very good job of just silhouetting his raw face, like his unmasked face, to give you enough of what he might look like. It was pretty gnarly. It was pretty brutal, his face. But I think just go full POV.
Yeah.
Stand behind him almost the entire time, because he does get the mask, but you don't really fully see him put the mask on. You see it in the window from the camera being outside 30 yards away from the building. Right. Instead of him, you transit. I guess going full POV could have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I just felt like it was a cool idea, and they should have leaned into it.
That should have been the whole movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have these other characters. You're going to have a final girl. So how are you going to reconcile the final girl getting away? I guess you would reconcile that from her she gets away.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see him getting the necklace and sitting down and looking at it. I feel like they showed his face as a childlike thing, because they're trying to, get you connected to him a little bit more as a person, build a little empathy. But then I feel like if they would have shown him getting the necklace off the gas can, like that's his mom's necklace or whatever it was, like I could see him show him crying or something, and then digging back into the ground, or I don't know, whatever he was going to do. I don't know.
Right. He was pretty shallowly buried, which is very interesting. Anyway, I could dive even deeper and completely annihilate it. It was a decent movie. I thought that it was hyped up a lot. I only saw so much hype for this movie. So I went in completely expecting a stellar kind of movie, on par with maybe Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
And that was not necessarily the case. There were things that could have been done better. I'm glad I didn't go see it in theaters. I only paid $3.99 and just rented it, or $2.99 and rented it. But anyway, again, we've been talking about it for way too long. We should move on.
Last thing I want to say is,
go ahead.
I think that it completely left my mind.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's the way that brains work, man.
Yay, brains. Yeah, I forget. It was so. Imagine I said something really profound and interesting.
Dude, that's totally true.
Right?
Oh my gosh. I never thought of it like that.
I don't know why nobody noticed that, but I'm glad I did.
Gosh, that would have made the movie so much better.
Right?
Like Oscar. Am I selling it too much?
Oh, here's what I was going to say.
Okay, great.
I heard someone mention that it was not really, this isn't really a movie. This is more like a proof of concept.
Okay.
For the
Dude,
POV.
I never thought of it like that.
Okay, shut up. It's like a proof of concept for this idea of following the killer around, and I thought, it's an interesting idea, and it's like you're playing with an idea, not that you're making a new kind of movie. And I think that's probably a better way to look at it. I think.
Yeah. I think it could have been better. I could see it like that, as it's not entirely finished, and they just wide released a movie to focus group it. So instead of focus grouping it to small people, they went, no, everyone.
Or they wide released a student project.
Yeah. It was a decent student film. I didn't think it was bad. Not more than 3.5 stars for me, though. I want more of this killer,
Yeah,
I want
same.
more movies that are like this. Unlike Skinamarink, I don't want any more of that. I do like the POV of the killer and even this killer. Maybe you
Yeah.
could make a In a Violent Nature 2 and make it not necessarily so centric about the necklace. You could make it more diving into the lore. You could go prequel
Hmm.
and Johnny, whatever his name is, dying. That would be, and his dad, like, because both of them died.
Yeah.
You could go prequel with that and make it cool, and even still stay with the POV nature of
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
following the kid, but it is a cool concept, and he is a cool killer. I don't want him to be more. Don't make him another Art the Clown, just gore fest kind of
No.
movie. But yeah, it was decent. All right, tell me what's happening, and this may be just off the record. Tell me what's happening. Is episode 20 what at
Oh,
23 and 24 a
yeah.
part 1 and part 2?
Yes.
By this
So
point, it's going to get resolved because this is episode 25, I guess.
right.
But
So here's the deal. Our episodes will be getting longer and longer and longer, which is fine.
yeah,
And it's both of our fault. But like
yeah,
right now we are at like an hour 20 something,
uh-huh.
and we haven't even gotten to the actual
No,
podcast.
not even a little bit.
This
Well,
is
you
like
you can
this is
cut down the In a Violent Nature segment a lot, probably.
this is the podcast. This is like the podcast before the podcast. So
It is.
what I'm gonna like tomorrow I'll release, so it's gonna be like Monday or Tuesday before this one comes out. Anyway, um, I'm gonna play with this idea of doing like the banter stuff, and then doing the actual reviews separately. For maybe try this for a couple weeks and see how it goes and see what people say, because I've been asking people around at work and friends and so forth about like the length of podcasts that they like, and they're like, anything beyond an hour I just don't listen to it beyond an hour. I'm like,
That means you don't love us.
right. Well, but the thing is, I look at like You Run podcast, us, a lot of these other horror podcasts. They're all super long.
Yeah, that's
They're all
because
like,
they're friends and they're talking and they like each other, and
right,
their listeners
right.
should also stop being douches and just freaking listen. If Miles can
You
listen at 3 times speed, you can turn on at least 2 times speed. I'm
you
talking to our listeners. Ugh.
I've
Also,
heard
I love you.
I've heard the best way to get people to do what you want them to do is to be very angry and demeaning to them.
100%, and that's all
Absolutely.
I'm about. That's
Okay,
100%
well,
all. Just playfully
as long as
being anger.
as long as we know where you're coming from.
Listen, if you don't know that I'm just joking around by 25 episodes deep, okay? I've been pretty clear that I'm just messing around. I'm not
Yeah,
actually.
we know this.
It's Chihuahua.
Huh?
That's the anger that I have. It's Chihuahua. It's
Like the region of Mexico.
my bark is worse than my bite.
Oh, the dog.
Yeah, the Chihuahua. Gosh. Oh my gosh. What other thing is called Chihuahua?
There's a state in Mexico called Chihuahua.
It's a city.
It's a state.
Not state?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we gotta get out the map. Let's get into the movies.
It's a new segment.
No, new segment's called Geography with
Geography with Zach.
Please make a thing. It's Geography with Zach. I just gave it to you. You're gonna just do that.
Okay, hold on. It's a breed of dog. Disambiguation. That's also same. Okay, I swear it's a region in Mexico.
Yeah, it is a region in Mexico. It's called a city.
Oh, shut up.
You just whispered.
Chihuahua, Mexican state, bordering the United States. The capital is Chihuahua. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Whatever.
State. It's a city, and it's a dog. It's the part of north of the USA that borders looks like New Mexico or Arizona. Is that Arizona? Yeah, Arizona and part of Texas.
You're the one looking at. Why are you asking me? You're looking at a map.
I'm looking at a map, but there's no words, and I you're the one. It's your segment, man.
Not mine. Not mine. Yeah, geography.
Anyway, sorry. You were saying I completely derailed what you were saying, and I do apologize.
No, it was I was. This segment brought to you by absolutely no one, because no one cares. Okay. No one's listening at this point. This is just Steve and I.
Anyway,
I was more like, oh, what's the plan from here on out? Because we are yakking for a long time before.
Yeah,
movies.
so I wanted to try out this idea of, like, we'll kind of wrap this up as an episode, and then have the next, like, we'll record them at the same time, but then like going into the next thing about the movies itself.
And then just releasing a part 1 and part 2. Part 1 on Friday, part 2 on Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, or if they're ready at the same time, I can release at the same time. Part of it was that I had a lot going on this week, and there was a 3-hour podcast, and I didn't. By the time I got an hour and a half into it, I'm like, I can't. I want to release something, but I don't want to wait another couple days for me to find the time to do that.
I say, if you have time, release the whole bit. I don't know. What I don't want to see is that people only listen to part 2 because that's really what they want, and then we just end up releasing part 1 for no reason.
That's kind of what I'm wanting to try out.
If you have, because we're putting chapters in this, if you as a listener have an issue with the fact that we ramble for too long, open up Spotify, go into the particular episode, scroll down to the bottom where the lyrics would technically be on a song, but there's chapters. Tap on where you want it to be played and start listening there. You can skip all the banter. But now you're talking about Steve putting in extra work just because a couple listeners whined and cried like freaking little
nobody whined. Children. Nobody said anything.
Again, I'm just playing. I don't think that our listeners are petulant children. I don't think that at all. But in this snowflake era, but also Steve can see my face. Like, Steve just knows that I'm joking, and everyone else is just getting my voice. I'm getting too Republican with it. Let's move on.
All right. Well,
cut all that out. Okay.
We are going to move on with the movies for the week.
Movies of the week. It's movies of the week.
Movies of the week.
It's movies of the week. Dude, that song is in my head now. All right, listeners. That's a wrap for another episode of Horrors Yet Unseen. Thanks for joining us.
And we'd love for you to become part of the conversation. Just drop us a voicemail at 1-216-202-5495 or email us at horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com. And keep up with the latest by following us on Instagram. That handle is at horrorsyetonunseenpod. We'd also appreciate it if you like and review our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your support means a lot to us. See you next time.